Hello, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. This is Travis Semulin Sours, and we're doing something a little different today. I wanted to bring you a little bit different content. On the stream, I play a lot of draft. I play a lot of sealed with Kaldheim. We've been doing a lot of sealed lately, both on Magic Online, and today we've been doing some in the Arena client. But one thing that I also do on the stream that I really haven't showcased on the YouTube channel at all is that I'll do draft reviews. So if there's a viewer who had a draft and wants me to look at it and say what I would have taken in various spots, I'm very happy to do that and comment about it and kind of give some additional insight. Now, that doesn't mean that the viewer was wrong and I'm right. It just means that having another set of eyes on a draft or another way to think through something like that can be useful. What we have here is Harlook has submitted a draft through the 17 Lands app. That's an app that you can download. It'll track your progress, show you your win rate, and if you enable it, record your drafts. For some reason, it doesn't capture your pack one, pick one, so she has made a screenshot of that so we can look at it here. Here I thought if the rare wheeled, I would take it, but I didn't want to commit so early. Well, here's my thoughts on the pack and the format. Generally speaking, I would like to be taking a rare or an uncommon early if I can take one. The format seems to be slanted towards what we would call a Prince format. That's one where the rares and uncommons are significantly better than the commons. Like in many cases, the commons are just worse versions of rare and uncommon cards. So I generally don't want to be picking a common if I can avoid it. The only thing that's close to that is indeed the Raven and the Packmate. Those are quite good. But I think out of this pack, my pick would be Cardor Doomscourge. The Raven's quite good. And you may have watched my set review where I said I really like the Raven's Warning. And I do. I really like this card, but I don't think it's actually very good. This entire pack is basically garbage. This pack has a lot of fine cards in it. Carter's pretty good, Cole's pretty good, the Armory's pretty good, the Raven's pretty good, this Kinseekers are pretty good, Coma's Faithful is fine, Cinderheart Giant is fine. Like this card is fine. But I think I'm going to start with Carter, and here's why. As we've gone through and outlined the different archetypes that I'm interested in, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that in the previous video titled Kaldheim Re-Review. Black-Red is actually one I'm quite happy to play. And the reason why is if you're getting the good red cards, and black's usually open because not many people want it, you can end up with a pretty good deck. Red-white is a color pair I don't want to play, and this rare doesn't make up for the fact that I'm kind of just playing a bunch of Windrakes in that deck. Cole is pretty good in red-white aggro. Now that's a deck I'm less interested in, especially since we're looking at best of 3. But I think my selection here would be Carter. If blue's open, we're going to get more Ravens anyway. And they're fine, but these haven't exactly been like breaking the format. There's lots of ways to block them via Mistwalkers or not Volt Recluses. It's not like you're going to get 20 of them and your whole deck is a Skies deck. And I think people are aware that they need to be able to deal with flyers in this format. So I think the payoff is higher on Carter if you get there. I think you could make the same argument for Cole. I just don't like that deck as much, but there's some chance that you could take the Cole, wheel the Armory, pick up a Pacifism and an Equipment, and have a pretty good start to red-white tokens. So I think I could respect either of these, but as we go through this, I'm really going to be hinging on the commons and uncommons. When we get here, we're into the draft app, and we can see what she selected, which was the Raven for the last pack. And I understand why. It's that idea that I want to stay open as possible. But the reward for staying open is that you're going to get past good pieces for specific decks. And you're kind of not in this format because someone at the table is going to be going after all of the payoffs that you can get. That's the 5-color green deck or the blue-green, like 3-color changeling deck. All right, so now that we get here, I'm going to need to make the pick both with what you have and with what I have. Because I think if I first picked the Carter and we get here, I'm still looking at the uncommons. I think if I first picked the Carter, I might still take the Mirror Lake. I really like that land. I think with what you've taken, I'm definitely taking it. I don't think any of the commons are making me compete with this. If you were looking to be a little bit more gambly, let's say you're in a tournament that you absolutely need to win and you first picked the coal, I think you could take the Bounding Gold here. I think if you'd taken the Curdor, you could take the Feed the Serpent. But for me, drafting open in this set currently means really trying to find uncommons that I can make work. And the Mirror Lake's a great one. The Shadow Sage is reasonable to take with the Curdor as well, because if you can get enough Berserkers, you can just play this as a Lava Axe that blocks big ground stuff. But I think the pick with the Raven would be the Mirror Lake. And it looks like you agree. I could see an argument for the bow too. Those living weapons are pretty good. Now, soon we're going to get to the spot where you can actually start to see what's open. And at this point, there's not any uncommons that I want. Yeah, I think if we'd taken the Curdor early, we can take the Feed the Serpent here. So the Rune of Speed is my least favorite rune, although the runes are better than I thought they were, but I don't really want to be playing Rune of Speed in any of my decks. I have played it if I had a Runed Crown and other good runes to get. It was like an insurance policy. So this you don't need. There's not really any deck that needs this. 2-drops aren't really what this format hinges around in best of 3. If I'm looking for a 2-drop in green, I'd really rather it be the 1/3 that can exile an artifact, because I can play that out early against aggro, and if I top deck it later, it'll probably do something. I think Feed's the pick. I think Feed's the pick here. Because if green's open, you'll get one of these whether you want it or not. And if it's not open, you're forcing it, and your payoff is you get a 2-mana 2/2. I'm not excited about that. We've also kind of determined that the Hellstrom Valkyrie isn't very good by itself. It's better in a super, like, hyper-dedicated snow deck. Imagine this was a 3/3 that you could pump for snow. Then you just play it. But that stat line of, like, a Windrake for 4 mana, it's not good enough. You have to be able to activate it. So I think I'd take the Feed here and see if black's actually open. Now we're starting to get some signal. Ever so slightly. This is a 2-drop I don't hate, because at least if the board's empty, you can attack in with it and start making some buddies. I've really been unimpressed with Rally the Ranks. I suspect you're going to grab the other Raven here, but I'm trying to think about what's actually the most open for us. I guess I really need to look at the cards that you have. I think at this point I might take the bow. I'd really have a preference for the uncommons. Has Fearless Liberator gone up for me? Well, I'm trying to imagine this draft as if I had taken Curdor into a feed, and at that point I would be interested in a Berserker that makes more Berserkers. But where we are, I think you're probably still, if we're trying to draft open, need to be on this bow. Okay, I'm feeling pretty comfortable now at possibly getting it on blue-green, because this is an Icehide Troll. There's also a Doom Bolt. I like blue-red a lot, and we had 4 people look at this Doom Bolt and not take it. You have to take this Doom Bolt. I don't know what color pair you're supposed to be in, but it's supposed to be red. It's like definitively supposed to be red. Yeah, these are all fine cards, and we're now off the point of I want to focus on the uncommons, because this kills everything. This doesn't kill everything. This kills most things you need to kill. Blue-red's a fine color pair. Green-red's a fine color pair. Black-red's a fine color pair. Red-white's a fine color pair. Like, red pairs with everything, and nobody wants this. Like, you have to take that Doom Bolt. And you did. Good. So now that we're here, let's talk through this and where we're potentially going. Because I think there's a possibility you're supposed to be considering green-red now. Like a strong possibility. Because what we identified that green-red wants to do is potentially ramp and have big creatures and fight spells. And I think Glittering Frost may be the best pick for you here. I have not found Inga to be absurd. I found her to be okay. If we were still going along the black-red plan, we could be looking at the Frostbite here. But I think Glittering Frost might be the pick, because we're starting to develop a little bit of a plan now. Looks like you agree. I'm with you so far. This is good. One of the cards I've changed my opinion a lot about is this particular Hawk. Initially, this was my favorite card in the set. I think the format is too powerful for you to be like planning to play 2 or 3 Hawks. I also think it might be the pick here, because now I'm starting to think maybe we're just doing blue-green stuff. If we can get an uncommon payoff, sweet. If not, we could be ramping to, say, a Ravenous Lindworm or whatever else we happen to get in the 6-drop slot. We'll probably pick up a few snowlands, and this is like our backup card draw. So I think I would still take it here. I don't think I'd have taken another Gladewalker. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the Gladewalker. I'll play it. But like here's something I'm concerned about Glittering Frost. So there's times where you play it, and then you hit your land drops anyway, and it didn't really do anything. Like, this is basically a 19th land that you can sometimes cheat into play early if you can capitalize on the mana. If you can't, I want to be able to sort through those other lands or draw some cards so that I can find something to do with the mana, because I'm only getting an advantage on this if it actually ramps me, right? Maybe if it fixes me too, but if it's only fixing me so I can cast a Doom Bolt, I probably should have been, or Demon Bolt, I probably should have been casting red spells anyway. Like right now, I don't feel like we have a reason to be playing green. We have the potential to play green. We don't have a reason to. Whereas because you've taken the 2 Ravens, we're probably going to be in blue. Yeah, me too. But what if you play this out and don't find the Linda until you have 8 lands anyway? It didn't actually do anything. So for me, it's more important to be able to find the Linda. And I'd really rather be doing that with Glimpse the Multiverse. But if I don't get a Glimpse of the Multiverse and we're going to play blue anyway, this can help me do that. Whereas this is just like replaceable 2-drop. And I don't think it's a format where you need a lot of 2-drops. If you're playing against red-white, it's nice to have them. But frankly, they get so big so fast that it's not like a 2/2 is going to block anything relevant there. Your 3-drops need to be what stabilize you. But I think I would have taken the Hawk there. Out of this pack, I think I'm going to take the Cinderheart Giant. There's still some possibility that we're not supposed to be playing blue. And Demon Bolt, Cinderheart Giant, and Glittering Frost is the start of a plan. It's a plan that would need to have more Glittering Frosts, some fight spells, and some of the 2-mana elves that untap snowlands. But once you've got that, you can win a game with this. And I do want one large thing in a deck that's looking to do that. If we're going to continue to force the blue line, we could take Mists, but it's okay. I don't think you should really be taking any snowlands in pack 1. You're going to need to have enough card draw to make up for playing the Glittering Frosts. So if you're playing the Glittering Frost and you match each one with a little bit of card draw, it's fine. Play as many as you want. I don't think you're going to get more than 3, but that's the max number that I've played. If you're playing a Glittering Frost deck, you don't even need to really struggle that much over the snowlands. I think there's some people that are suggesting that you should just like grab snowlands out of all the packs, and someone's kind of obviously doing that in your draft, but right now you have no payoff for snow mana. We even passed the Raven. If you do, like, the snow payoffs are basically only in blue-green at uncommon, and if you don't have them, you're playing a changeling deck, looking for tribal payoffs that you're probably going to splash. But like, I'm not even going to play, I don't even want to do whatever this is doing. I would be taking the Giant. And now that we're here, we're kind of getting a little signal. It's probably too late with everything we've taken, but the whole table looked at Cole and the Axgard Armory and was like, nah, I'm good. But with what we have, honestly, I think I'd rather flush all of these, play the Demon Bolt and Cole, and go with that. Like, if literally no one wanted this, why wouldn't we just play it? Orvar is basically a hill giant that gets better if you have interaction, fight spells particularly. So I wouldn't say it's a great card, but it's certainly not a bad one. We could also take like buckle in and take the giant here and commit to like a green-red ramp. But I feel like we're picking red cards, or excuse me, blue cards and green cards, but don't really have a reason to be taking them. I don't want to play aggro either, but if it's what's open, it's what I want to play. But if we're out on that, then it has to be the giant here. What did you actually take? The carve? I haven't seen any decks that want this. Now that we've come back here, we've got a Hagri mob, which is another reasonable thing to ramp into. And now it doesn't matter what deck I would have been drafting, because like what you've taken has influenced things. But like you have a first pick and a relatively early pick Raven. Like where did we take that other Raven? We took it third. So what we've got here is a situation where I feel like you're building around commons in a format that wants you to build around uncommons, and we just don't have a reason to be blue. We don't really, the only card we have that's really powerful is the Demon Bolt. So I'd at the very least want to get into red, and I don't mind playing a Hagi mob. So I think that's what I'd be taking here. Like, there's nothing wrong with Broken Wings, but right now all that green is doing for us is fixing for another color. Now, it could be quite good if you open a really good card that you'd want to splash in the next pack, but you could also just play that color and pair it with red. Here we've got, again, more cards that I think are playable in red. I'm not excited to play a Berserker, but it's certainly playable. I've mentioned a couple times I like the Giant in green-red. I like one in blue-red, too. At least we're taking a red card, because I think that's what we're supposed to be doing. This Helm is not bad in red. Okay, I feel like we're moving in. This is good. That Troll confuses me a bit, but it's a really good green card. I think you're supposed to be green-red. None of that matters. So now that we get here, again, it would have been nice to open that return if we'd taken the Curter. I think I can make an argument for Linda, the World Tree, and the Arcanist. So the one thing we have going for us is that we didn't pass a lot of good blue. If we can get into blue-red and get a second copy of Demon Bolt, that Arcanist would be nice. But I think it's more likely that the Arcanist wheels if nobody's in Giants. So I don't think I want to do that here. I think I'd rather just take the Linda if we're going to buckle in on green, because my suspicion is we're probably supposed to be some sort of Mardu colors. That's what feels like the most open. But the second most open thing is just green-red big things. And we don't have a big thing yet. And it kind of sucks to be first picking a 6-mana 6/6, but I think it's what we want here. I can respect this. It's opening us up to splashing, and we're not going to see another one of those, so I don't think that's the worst thing I've ever seen. Now we're starting to see good red cards, and this does not surprise me, because we kind of thought that red was open after we saw all of that passed. I think I'd rather have the first Basalt Ravager, especially with the changelings that we've already picked up. Because this is kind of like a Demon Bolt with a Basalt Ravager. There's no need to take the Snowland. You have absolutely no reason to be playing Snow anything. And I don't think we need fixing. I think we just need to get into green-red. Because this Basalt Ravager looks pretty good here. I'd be happy with the Demon Bolt too. And like you'd probably play this if you got it. It works with these guys. But like I think the Ravager's an easy pick there. Now that we're here, we've got a Snuggle. Not super exciting, but if you look at the Snuggle plus the creatures that you have so far, again, I kind of wish we just had a big something, but we might still be able to find one. This is your opportunity to get into green-red, which I don't think is the most open, but it's at least open adjacent. So you did take that. That's good. Now, we've got to... I think I know what you're going to take here. I suspect you're going to take the second Glittering Frost. I don't think we want the second Glittering Frost. I think we actually want the Blizzard Brawl. Now, again, you need big somethings to work with this, but that's what red-green does. You don't have the Snowlands. That's okay. This is Prey Upon. You don't need the Snowlands if you've got a 5/5 and your opponent has little stuff. You can smack a flyer out of the way and punch him in the face. It's exactly what you want to be doing. So I think I would take the Brawl here. I think you're also overvaluing 2-drops, which if you play a lot of best of one or you watch a lot of people who play a lot of best of one, that's a pretty easy trap to fall into. Like, I've played plenty of decks in draft that didn't have any 2-drops and was fine. Yeah, but if this color pair is open, you'll get a big thing. And you've had the opportunity to get big things. We just haven't yet. Now, here's a 2-drop I am actually interested in, especially in this color pair. And for me, the blue ship has sailed. I think you should know what colors you're in by pack 2, pick 5. I don't think green's incredibly open, but I do think red is, and that it'll pair nicely with it. Because, sure, Glimpse the Cosmos is incredibly powerful, but I'm not splashing all of this currently. I think your pick is going to be Glimpse the Cosmos, and I understand why. It's incredibly powerful, but we should know where we are by now. And I don't think this goes with where we are. I don't think blue's open. I do think green's open. And I think if we'd taken the Linda earlier or some of the Giants earlier, we could have some real potential here to take the Packmate or even the Sculptor. But you're not in blue, green, red. You think you're in blue, green, red, but you only think that because you picked these Ravens very early, not because it's open. You're looking at the Ravens and excited that you have them, which is neat, but you're actually supposed to be in green, red. It sucks, but I think where we are, you have to take this Linda. Like, I could respect the Packmate. I'd probably take the Packmate anyway. It's too good, but Simfail is close enough. Now that we get here, we're kind of missing on some key pieces for our archetype, and we can see more pieces for like red-white starting to pop up. Blue-white's open, but that's okay. I don't want to play it. I think where I am, I'm going to take this Jaspara Sentinel and probably put it right in the sideboard. I'm not expecting to play it, but if we open something incredibly powerful and we want to splash it, we could conceivably do that off of the Sentinel, a Duel, and the Glittering Frost. So I like that pick. Speaking of picks, I think I would take one here. And you guys know I'm not crazy about this card, and it's not something I put in every deck. But again, I kind of have to stop looking at what I would have drafted and look at what we have right now. And I still don't think there's a compelling reason to be playing blue unless you open a blue rare in the next pack. But that's still not like indication that that's open. Whereas this pick would give us the last piece of the fixing, the ability to ramp into some big things. I think this could do some work here. Probably just grab another Berserker. It's not exactly what I want, but it's fine. We're just really suffering from not having something big. I don't hate Seize the Spoils either. Like I mentioned sometimes you'll ramp and get into a situation where you're not really able to do anything with the extra mana. So this is a way to kind of fix that and also enable a splash. Yeah, this is about where you should be taking a Gladewalker. Like, it's fine. Grab you one. You could even consider splashing for Fall of the Imposter. You can pick up your Broken Wings now. Like, here we could grab the Dwarven Reinforcements, which I don't think would be bad with the Helm we've picked up. And then we get here. So we're already in green. We have a bunch of Changelings. I still think we're supposed to be green-red, but I'm going to let that go. I think I'd be pretty happy with the Elvish War Master here. This card isn't amazing, but it's also not bad. And its value does go up significantly with the changelings you already have, because you can pump them. The deck I had been putting together could play this. I think you still have enough time to play it. I appreciate that you're doing the Simfail emote, and it's okay to pass a rare that you could have played. It's not the end of the world. It's okay. Don't beat yourself up. You should have taken this. You know you should have taken this. I'm not sure what the argument for the Alpine Meadow was. Yeah, this is obviously an arena draft. Because if you're going to take a Snowland, the Shimmerdrift Vale is just a better one. Because there's not anything white that you would want to play. And if there was, you could still do it off of this. But like, this is just overvaluing Snowlands. And it's okay, but there's really no reason for you to have them. So take the Valky, but don't beat yourself up about missing that. Once we're here, we're continuing to see decent red cards. We're not really seeing much in the other colors. I don't hate picking another Icehide Troll. You wanted to play the Green-White Saga? Okay. So how are you going to play that? Right now, you can already do it off of 1 Sentinel, a pick, and the Glittering Frost. Like, there's already 3 white sources in this deck. And this Saga isn't... Like, one thing you got to kind of pay attention to on this Saga is the green-white strategy for this format is kind of going wide, right? Because this looks like a removal spell, and it is, but it's a removal spell that your opponent has a good bit of control over. And it's a removal spell that if you can't capitalize on the counters, you're in a good bit of trouble. Right? So you need to be going wide, pump up something, a flyer, a token that's not relevant anymore, like be clocking them. And then the idea with this exile a creature is that they can't block with something. Well, I would like to have snow for the trolls too, but that land doesn't actually help you at all. You would need more. So like if we're going back here, you could just take this and it would help fix your mana even better. But the thing that's going to make the trolls work is Glittering Frost. This gives you 2 snow sources. The trolls don't do anything without 2. So you would need 2 of them. And like, maybe you get 3 Snowlands out of this pack. You'd have to draw 2 of them together. It's more likely that you could enable the troll that you already have by just getting 2 Glittering Frosts. And like, I'm looking at this pack and thinking I'm probably taking the troll anyway. Yeah, Bind the Monster's fine. 1 copy of it. I don't want to play 500. But I'd probably take the other troll here. I'm going to enable your picks. Because I understand your thinking. I think people are overvaluing the Snowlands too much. If you're playing the troll, play Glittering Frost. I still feel like we need a big thing. But it's looking to me like you're just going to play 3 colors. If you're going to play 3 colors, I don't know that Frostbite is exactly something we need. It's only going to be a shock. Which is not terrible, but it does most of what the Gladewalker does. Yeah, but you could take a Hagri mob or Haggy mob and just not play the Undersea Invader. I think at the end of it, and like the picks are probably not going to be very informative from here. Demon Bolt's nice. This will also just kill somebody. But I understand why you're taking the Demon Bolt over it now. But I think this is far enough down the line to have made my point, is that red was actually open. We knew that red was open from this direction. And I think we needed to get into a heavy red deck. I think the best pairing for it after looking through the entire draft was white. But I really think you needed to be like... This all goes back to... here. I think, right? Like, this Demon Bolt is your signal on pick 5. Nobody's playing red. Just get into red. So I suspect what we end up with is a deck that's playing 3 colors but doesn't really have a reason to. Right? Like, what are we getting in green that we're excited about? an Ice-Hide Troll that we're probably not going to be able to pump up, and a Struggle for Skimfar. What are we getting in blue that we're excited about? A couple of flyers, a mediocre card draw spell. The best cards that you have in this pool are all red. So it would have been better if we'd either cut the green and forced blue, or cut the blue and picked the green cards. A step better than that probably would have been to play black or white with it, because that seemed more open. So it's not that you've ended up with a bad deck that's unplayable. It's that if you'd kind of like noticed these signals and hopped on them, the deck would have been better. Does that make sense? I don't think you messed up big time. Well, and it's okay to have those personal preferences, right? Like, you don't have to draft the way I do. And I would even suggest, like, for the full picture, that if there's someone else you follow that plays Best of 3 Limited, if you could get them to look at this too, they might come to a completely different conclusion, which is okay. But I do think that the biggest point of this was here. I've said over and over and over in my stream that a draft really starts with pick 5. Because I feel like at pick 5, there's one card that's usually standing out of the pack. It's like, this is your open color, go. So the purpose of the initial picks in the packs are really to try to draft the most powerful cards you can, so that whatever you figure out is open, you can take it. So almost your first 4 picks, they don't need to have anything to do with each other. If you're considering, well, this plays, like, say your first pick here is the Curder, and then you go to this pick 2. I don't care that I have a Curder. I see that there's a Feed the Serpent here, but I don't care. I need black to be very open for me to want to play Curder. So I'm probably still taking the Mirror Lake or maybe the Bow here. Like, it's just completely irrelevant. But I think once we got here, this is where you're kind of like, hey, I got a blue-green land. I know blue-green's a good color pair. Let's take the green card. But the power level just isn't here. This is a 2-mana 2/2. Whereas the Feed the Serpent is like a wonderful removal spell. But once you've taken it, you've kind of tunnel visioned yourself in on, oh, I can play blue-green. This is exciting. And I do agree with this, Raven. I don't agree with the first one. So I think we should be getting to this pack, and we should have a Curder, a Feed the Serpent, a Raven, and a Mirror Lake. And once we get here, we're like, hey, maybe red's open. I could play this, maybe get the Curder to work. And now we're sort of starting to think about those things, and we're like, this Frostbite might be good because we know that this is going to be open. So I know you get it. I want to make sure everybody else gets it too, right? So those of you watching on YouTube, if you have drafts that you'd like me to review, it's important that they be best of 3. I can't really help you with best of 1 because that's a very different format. But I'm very happy to look at them and walk through it. And like, there's absolutely no shame in this. Like, when I started playing Magic, the reason I'm creating Magic content right now is because when I came back to the game after a long break, I had to have been worse than anybody that's watching this. Literally had to have been. I was terrible. And I had to watch Magic content to learn how to draft. I started watching Josh Frankel, Soulbush1's videos on draft Magic. And if I hadn't done that, that never would have led to content creation in the first place. So like, never feel bad when somebody's looking at your draft. And if somebody's looking at it and telling you you're terrible or you're an idiot or something like that, I don't want their content. Good grief. Be nice to each other. Like, if the goal is to teach, don't beat somebody up. And again, I don't think at the end of it you got a bad deck. I just think it could have been better if we'd been a little bit more focused. So, YouTubers, if you like this sort of content, let me know in the comments. I can post more of them here. If you'd like to watch the drafts live or sealed live or submit one of your own, you can do so at twitch.tv/Semulin. Chat, say goodbye to YouTube. We're going to head back and play some more sealed. And Harriet, thank you very much for submitting that.